What's up everyone and welcome back to the MMA Zone. Today, let's get started with what's next for Robert Whittaker after UFC Saudi Arabia WIN. If the UFC needs a backup for the UFC 305 headliner, it looks like they've got their man. Yes, Robert Whittaker demonstrated once again today why he's one of the greatest middleweights to ever walk this planet by taking out Ikram Aliskerov in the headliner of UFC Saudi Arabia. The Australian star had Aliskerov on skates not long into the fight after hurting him badly with the right hand. The Reaper proceeded to finish the deal with follow-up punches, and in doing so, he snapped the 7-fight winning streak of Aliskerov. So what could be next for Bobby Knuckles? Well, as fate would have it, the current middleweight champ, Dricus du Plessis, is set to fight Israel Adesanya at UFC 305, August 17th. So given Whittaker's decorated resume, and because he lives in Australia, you would think the UFC will have him as a backup for the card's headliner. Let's assume, however, that du Plessis and Adesanya end up fighting as scheduled. What could be next for Whittaker? Don't be surprised if the UFC approaches Whittaker about fighting Khamzat Chimaev, if the undefeated star is able to fight in the not-too-distant future. After all, that's the matchup the UFC booked for the promotion's Saudi Arabia debut, but Chimaev had to withdraw due to illness. Up next, Chael Sonnen fires back at Conor McGregor. Chael Sonnen was talking trash and cutting promos way before Conor McGregor ever stepped into the octagon, so no one should be surprised to hear the American gangster isn't shutting up after McGregor told him to. Sonnen has been making headlines ever since he strongly insinuated that the real reason McGregor isn't fighting at UFC 303 is because he's in rehab. McGregor's camp was quick to deny the claim, and the star has also reported via images and comments that he's been sidelined due to a broken toe. Oh yeah, McGregor also told Sonnen to shut your pie hole, ho. You tap from ground and pound. Well, Sonnen didn't waste any time before responding to McGregor. In a follow-up video the former UFC contender released, Sonnen said,
"So Conor McGregor refused my compliment. My compliment was that he had the strength to seek help. He's arguing with me and he's telling me to shut my pie hole. Do not listen to Chael, who says I am reaching out to help and better myself. Listen to me, who had to pull out of a borderline illegal fist fight opposite Michael Chandler, who's one tough son of a because my pinky toe is discolored. You can listen to my account, which builds and helps Conor McGregor. Or you can listen to Conor's account, which makes him look like a little bitch."
Well, naturally, the MMA world had plenty to say about Chael's latest verbal barrage. Here were some of those comments he received in response. 10-7 Chael, damn, own McRat. Chael's doing Conor a favor with this promo, to be honest, but Conor still deserves respect because when he was younger, he always fought on injuries. Now that he's an older guy, if he wants to compete at a high level, health is wealth. Chael literally made up everything about Conor for views, and he knows it. Scumbag. Chael saying he builds and helps McGregor, while at the same time saying he pulled out to enter rehab? Effing it. After McGregor shared images of his broken toe, plenty of people started to pile on the star. A key reason being that when Rafael dos Anjos dropped out of the 2016 bout with a broken foot, McGregor repeatedly trashed RDA. But in an interesting video clip from Dr. Brian Suturer, he acknowledged that fighting with a completely trashed pinky toe would significantly compromise McGregor's movement.
I'm sure he's going to get all kinds of hate online about withdrawing because of a broken pinky toe. But as pinky toe fractures go, that's a pretty good one.
Will the doctor's comments silence some of McGregor's critics? Hard to say. The former featherweight and lightweight champ also reported via social media that I will never enter a fight hurt again, and I will never lose another fight. But the UFC's current featherweight king, Ilia Topuria, isn't laying off the decorated fighter. Far from it. Check out what Topuria had to say to McGregor. "You are mentally broken. That is your biggest lesson. You doubt yourself, your abilities, your preparation. That's why you don't show up. You are a bitch." The drama didn't stop there, however, as some observers were quick to claim that Topuria seems to model himself after the Notorious One. Case in point, one response showed how Topuria's tattoos looked pretty similar to McGregor's. Further, Topuria also yanked the belt away from Alexander Volkanovski at a pre-fight presser, just like McGregor did to Jose Aldo back in 2015. And here were some of the other responses Topuria's post prompted. "Shouldn't talk about your hero that way, brother. Whatever you say, sanitizer boy, sign the Holloway fight and worry about yourself. Bro has 7 fights in the UFC and talking like he's the effing boss. Nowhere near Conor's level. Have some respect." What's your take on all this? Do you think Topuria is being a hypocrite, or is he just disappointed in his idol? Joe Rogan reacts to Conor McGregor pulling out of UFC 303. In his latest episode of Fight Companion, Joe Rogan discussed Conor McGregor pulling out of his fight with a broken toe and agrees with Conor that it was a smart decision. Here's what Rogan had to say.
Well, pinky toe. It's exactly what Pantoja had when he beat Jamal Hill. He had a broken toe. I knew about it in advance. Look, here's the thing about a broken pinky toe. When you're a guy who kicks as much as Conor, it's a fucking problem.
100%.
And it's also the same foot where his leg was snapped and he went into that fight injured. He's never pulled out of a fight before.
Never.
This is the first one he pulled out of, and I think it's wise because I think if you do have a broken toe and you are going into a fight and you did go into a fight, the last fight injured, what if that fucking toe becomes a real issue? Like, what if he throws a kick and it smashes again and he's in agony and he can't move?
Conor recently came out in an interview and revealed that his broken toe actually hurts a lot more than it looks like it would.
Look, we just adjust. Everything is moving parts, you know. So I'm good. The injury is a nuisance. It's painful. I'm not gonna lie. It's very, very painful. Probably even more painful than the leg, and that's the truth. And I tell you why, because the leg at least was wrapped up. I couldn't access it. The foot is just there still. Do you get me? It's like it's exposed or something. So it's a bit painful, but it comes with the territory. I need to just dial it in.
He also mentioned a new fight date for his bout with Michael Chandler and revealed more about his broken toe.
I'm soon as, you know.
Ideally when?
September, I'd love. You know, it's you know the way it is. I'm in recovery mode. It's 3 weeks to the day. It happened 3 weeks ago today, and I'm still here rocking around in the slippers. So, you know, they're not bad slippers now, thankfully, and they're cozy enough, but I can't get into a shoe yet. So, you know, they put I've done everything they asked. They put stem cell into my foot. They took it from the back. They put it in my foot, 20 milligrams of stem cell out my own back from the bone marrow in. And I was like, right into the break.
Dana White addressed Conor McGregor's injury and when he'll be ready to fight, but he doesn't seem confident in giving a date for Conor.
I don't know right now. Yeah, you know, our schedule's laid out, so we'll see. I'm not doing anything until I know that Conor is healthy. It's not even worth talking about till, you know, what about September? What about October? He's not ready. So why even talk about that?
Okay, now let's go to what's next for Alexander Volkov after UFC Saudi Arabia win. If you had closed the book on Alexander Volkov fighting for the UFC's heavyweight title at some juncture, you may want to reopen it. Volkov took on Sergey Pavlovich in the co-headliner for UFC Saudi Arabia and proceeded to batter and bloody the feared slugger with stiff jabs and kicks. Pavlovich kept coming until the final horn, but after 15 minutes, it was clear Volkov was or should win. So when you consider that Volkov has now won 4 straight and that he just defeated the number 3 ranked heavyweight in the UFC, the massive heavyweight is back in the title shot mix. Sure, he likely needs to defeat another top contender before that happens, but if the former Bellator champ does that, we could definitely see Volkov fighting for the belt. The big question right now is, who will be holding that belt if and when Volkov earns a title shot? Will it be Tom Aspinall, who's the last man to beat Volkov, or will it be Jon Jones, Stipe Miocic, or possibly Curtis Blaydes? And which top contender could Volkov fight? Ciryl Gane is a possibility that stands out, given that he's not booked for a fight currently. But Gane recorded a decision victory over Volkov in 2021, so one could certainly argue that Gane doesn't have much to gain by fighting Volkov. Another possibility could be Jailton Almeida, who, while he's ranked lower than Volkov at number 7, is coming off a win over Alexander Romanov. Tom Aspinall talks Jon Jones retirement. There's no shortage of fans who would love to see Tom Aspinall take on Jon Jones at some juncture, but what if Bones ends up hanging up the gloves before that happens? Will Aspinall be devastated? If you need some context, after Aspinall bombed out Sergey Pavlovich to secure the UFC's interim heavyweight title, talk about the Liverpool fighter facing Jones ramped up. After all, Jones holds the heavyweight belt, and it would be fascinating to see how Aspinall does against the legend. But given the UFC's plans to have Jones fight Miocic later this year, and because Bones has acknowledged he may not fight much longer, optimism for Jones versus Aspinall is waning. So while talking with the MMA Zone recently, Aspinall weighed in on how he would feel if he never gets to fight the legendary Jones.
Well, I'm trying to create my own legacy. I don't want to live off somebody else's. Yeah, it would be nice to fight Jon, of course. Jon's someone that I've looked up to for years, like most MMA fighters. What he's done in the octagon is nothing short of incredible. But if it doesn't happen, we'll move on. I got to create my own legacy in this thing. I'm young. I've only just got a taste of a title myself, so yeah, I got a lot more work to do.
These are understandable comments from Aspinall, but it would still be awesome to see him throw down with Jones before the latter hangs him up. Of course, both men have some work to do before that can happen. Next up for Aspinall is Curtis Blaydes, whom he'll battle on July 27th. UFC updates. The UFC is heading back to Australia in August for a pay-per-view card, and the promotions added one of that nation's biggest fighters to the event, Tai Tuivasa. Yes, recently news broke that Tuivasa will battle Jairzinho Rozenstruik at the August 17th event, which will go down in Perth. In addition, recently, Alex Pereira's camp shared a video clip of Tuivasa informing the champ's coach, Plinio Cruz, that his next scrap will be with Jairzinho. Not only that, Tai made it clear he's pretty happy to not be fighting a wrestler. Check it out.
Had anything booked? August. August what, here? Perth. Joe's, Joe's, what's his name? Rozenstruik. Yeah, good fight. No wrestling.
Yep, if you like watching heavyweights with heavy hands throw down, you're probably going to tune in for that one. If you need a refresher, Israel Adesanya is also booked to fight middleweight champ Dricus du Plessis at UFC 305. And finally, Chang Ho Lee has officially locked up a spot on the UFC's roster after recording a split decision victory over Long Xiao today at UFC Saudi Arabia. Lee faced Long in what were the bantamweight finals for the second season of the Road to UFC competition. With today's win, the South Korean fighter moved his record to an impressive 9-1. Alexandre Pantoja disrespects Sean O'Malley. Alexandre Pantoja and Sean Sugar O'Malley probably won't be battling in the octagon anytime soon, but Pantoja continues to field questions about how a bout with his fellow UFC champ would play out. Why is that? Well, in addition to the fact people like to speculate about how a fight between UFC champs would unfold, Pantoja and O'Malley have a bit of history. Not only has Pantoja made it clear he's not a fan of Sugar, the two have continued to trade verbal shots on account of a sparring session they had way back in 2016. Earlier this year, O'Malley released partial footage of the sparring session, which shows him planting a thumping kick to the body of Pantoja. A few moments later, the Brazilian waved off the session. Well, during a recent chat session with fans, Pantoja was asked about how a fight with Sugar would go. Once again, the flyweight champ took the opportunity to pile on O'Malley.
Easy fight, O'Malley, easy fight. Druggy guy, easy fight for me. I killed this guy. I killed him before, what we want. But he's afraid. He not post the video. He just put a 10 second of the fight. I'm a little upset with that, because after he kicked me like that, I say, okay, you not respect. I go to his gym, training with him, and then he did that. After that kick, I kill him. If he have a balls, he gonna put all the video.
Now, it should be noted that O'Malley has publicly conceded that when the sparring session resumed, Pantoja did proceed to submit him, but O'Malley also noted that at the time, he only had a couple of pro fights under his belt. At the end of the day, of course, how a sparring session that took place approximately 8 years ago went likely has next to no bearing on how the fight would look today. So if Pantoja were to move up to 135 pounds, do you see him beating the current bantamweight king? All that aside, O'Malley is expected to fight Merab Dvalishvili later this year, who has established himself as one of the toughest outs on the UFC roster. The MMA community roasts Sean Strickland for body transformation. Sean Strickland posted on Instagram sharing pictures of himself sparring on vacation in Japan. In the photo, Strickland looks like he's gained at least 20 pounds since the last time we saw him compete at UFC 302 just a few weeks ago. Here's what the community had to say. Are you fighting Jones at heavyweight? The man's got the I'm waiting for my title shot physique. The Japan prices got Strickland gaining weight. Strickland replied to the fans saying, "Man, it is so cheap here, I won't be able to go out anymore in America. I'm over that BS inflation. Bro's becoming Jamal Hill. You've been hanging out with Patty?" Top comments. Conor with 1 broken toe, I'm out of the fight. Alex with 2 broken toes, Chama. If Iron Mike was smart, he would have been saying, I'm ready for my next fight. Conor is never fighting again, and I'm the one who retired him. Take a page out of Uncle Chael's playbook. He just showed how to get what we want from Conor. Islam's Twitter trash talk is brutal. 100% Dom Reyes won that fight. Not a huge Reyes fan, but dude won 3 rounds fairly soundly. That whole you gotta smoke the champ to beat them is stupid. With that said, Dom Reyes went downhill fast, and now we can see it was a mental thing that kept him from winning.